Hello, all you cats and kittens. Maybe I should say, all you gorgeous people. Get it? Like gourds? Like I think loofahs are gourds, maybe? So funny, right? Oh, so funny, thank you. Today, I wanted to talk about loofah sponges. I have wanted to grow loofah sponges ever since I found out they were a plant. Like, how cool is this? It's crazy. Here in Cambodia, it's the perfect climate for it because they want full sun, and in order for them to dry out on the vine, it takes quite a long growing season. And I think here in Cambodia, as long as you give them enough water, which they really don't need too much water, I feel like they'll just grow forever. I don't know about that, but I feel like it's true because they haven't stopped and they've been growing for a while now. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk today about how to turn this into this. So cool, and it's a sponge. They're also great cat toys, I found. And they're natural, so if they eat it, it's fine, right? Probably. Luke helped me build this like trellis kind of thing. We got some thin pieces of wood and some metal wire, and we just, instead of using nails or anything, we just kind of like wound it all together. I made a mistake with how I laid out the wires. I only did 2 vertical, so now all of them are trying to climb up the 2 wires that I put. And some of the way I did the wires was really just for the structural integrity because it's kind of ghetto and flimsy. And then the soil is so hard and clay-like that we had to like pour water and then dig and stick them in the tiny holes. If you've seen here, I have Coke cans buried that I can fill, and I have tiny little holes poked in so that they'll slowly release water just to combat the dryness of the soil. So that just helps kind of soften the soil slowly throughout the day. It's not very structurally sound, and I was going to say that it's fine for now, but there was a storm last night and it's no longer with us. So it's on the ground. We'll see what I can do to fix that in the future. But the plants are still intact, so that's good. There's been some issues with like bugs and things eating the leaves. I'm still having a huge problem with these little bugs that eat the leaves. Here's one of them right here, that little guy. And they were covered in ants. There's also lots of ants crawling all over them. But as soon as they kind of took off and were big enough, I didn't really have any problems. Maybe it's just like the young leaves that they liked. The ants are still all over it, and I think they're just attracted to the nectar. They don't actually ruin the fruit or anything, so I've just left them. Like I was saying before, the loofahs love full sun, don't need too much water. They would do well in kind of more of the southern states in the US. I read online some of the struggles that people have up north are that the season's just not long enough, and by the time that they grow, there's just not enough time for them to dry on the vine and to harvest them. So the seeds that I used were specifically for loofah sponges. Here in Cambodia, I think they do grow well, they grow loofahs. I forget what they call it in Khmer, but they eat them. And these loofah sponges, as they're like green loofahs, you can eat them. And I hear they're like summer squash. I haven't actually tried them, mostly because I'm too excited to have them as sponges, so I don't pick them because I want to keep them longer till they turn into sponges. What you really do, it's super simple. It's just growing a plant, you know, it's fine. Once it has grown into like a green gourd thing, I don't know, you just leave it. You can pick it and eat it. If it's the end of the season and you don't have any more time before frost, cut it, pick it, either eat it or try to dry it in your house. I don't know how that works, so don't ask me. What I do here, the sun is so hot, it's like perfect for letting these things get all dry and crispy. You just leave them on the vine until they turn brown and they're like super light and they get kind of crunchy, and you cut it off. Once I cut it off, I let it sit out in the sun for another day or 2 because I find that makes it easier to get the skin off. I am going to resist the urge to peel it and process it tonight just because it's still like a little soggy in some spots. It's like so light, so that's how you know when it's ready. and you can hear the seeds. It can be kind of a long and just like a time-consuming thing if they're not super crispy. I've heard of people soaking them and trying to peel it that way, but some of the times it ends up being like a really stubborn hard-boiled egg where you have to pick off every single little tiny piece of the shell that you've cracked. It's at this point that the sweat really just starts dripping down your back. Wow. World's biggest loofah? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe. Sometimes it's very satisfying and it all comes off in one and it's like magic. Once you've done that, then you have your loofah sponge, and it's the exact same shape as the gourd before you peeled it. I usually cut off the ends because they're a bit scraggly, and then what I do is I soak them in a diluted bleach solution. So what that does is it lightens the color up a little bit, makes it a bit more pristine, store-bought looking, and it also just disinfects and gets any fungus or whatever could have been left behind. It'll just kill any mold or anything. I have read some studies. You don't need to soak it for more than like 45 seconds. Probably 30 seconds at the max. Because if you have it in there for too long, the structural integrity of the fibers of the sponge kind of gets diminished, I guess. Then I like to cut them up into cute little pieces. Not very straight, obviously. I use just a pair of scissors. If you have a bread knife, when it's dry, I think that's easier. You can see it's not perfectly white, but I mean, I grew it at home. It's not supposed to be perfect. This is one of the bigger ones. I do have a lot of random small sized ones. And another cool thing, if you're into soap making, I've seen people kind of cut them into little circles, and then you can pour soap in it, and it's a cute little loofah soap bar, and as you use it, it comes and scrubs. It's so cool. I will say they're kind of like hard to begin with. As you soak them, they get really soft. It's kind of a little bit exfoliating. It's really good for your body. I don't know scientifically, but it can't be bad, right? Don't use it for your face. It's a little harsh for your face, and you don't want to create any micro tears and get bacteria and who knows what in there. So stay away from your face. The biggest thing is to leave it somewhere that it will completely dry in between uses. So if you're using it to wash your dishes, just make sure it's not sitting in a puddle of water or sitting somewhere that it's not gonna dry. If it's in the shower, kind of the same thing. You just don't want it to be like soaking and to not drying out and getting moldy. They don't last as long as a plastic sponge for obvious reasons. The loofahs themselves produce so many seeds, and if you grow them yourself, you'll have a surplus. I'm not really sure where you can buy them near you, but look online, maybe there's people that sell them, because they're just so fun, you know, it's just so natural. And then when you're done, toss it out in your compost heap. It'll break down, that's awesome. To clean it, I think you can do like another bleach solution. I wouldn't recommend doing that multiple times, just because, like I said, with the integrity of it, it could diminish. A baking soda solution, that's another one I've read, which works. You just soak it in some dissolved baking soda and, I don't know, you can look it up. It's on Pinterest. Everything's on Pinterest. So fun, super cool. Let me know if you grow them, because that's really cool too. And if you have any questions, comment. Probably don't know the answers, but I'll try. Thanks for watching this video. If you love this content, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like this video, and I'll see you soon. Oh no. It's not how you're supposed to do that.